Peace, peace, peace. That's good. I am kind of tired, but I'm feeling drawn to pick a poem. Not like me pick a poem, but just let the energy pick a poem. And then just say whatever comes to me to say based on that poem. So I like to draw a poem like a oracle card or something like that. But instead of an oracle card, it's a poem. So let's see. That's so funny. Oh my gosh, that's so funny. So this poem, I had done the same thing with my friend the other day, literally just a few days ago. And she did the same thing. She put her hand on the poetry book and opened the book. And she opened it up to this poem. And then a little bit later, her boyfriend came in. And then she wanted him to do the same thing. So he put his hand on the book. And then he opened it up. And he opened it up to the same exact poem. We were like, what? And so now I share the poem with you guys. And again with myself. The poem is called, I am extremely loved and blissed. Words are so powerful. They spell out a whole wave of energy and could sting the spirit like a bee. But they could also do quite the contrary, depending on what the mind chooses to perceive. Everything begins in the mind, in which we could fast forward, slow down, or even rewind time. But then that would show if we are living right here or waiting for the next rhyme, or perhaps anticipating the moment the sun will again shine, rather than enjoying the cycle that is perfectly aligned. Everything has as much power as we give it. Words could run their course and damage our spirit, or be utilized as a tool to empower us to surpass any of those projected limits. There could be so much beauty in every word that we say, just as there is endless beauty showing up in our life each day in multiple ways. But the power in everything comes from that of ourselves. We give power to that in which we choose to dwell. And the feeling attached to the words or phrases in that we spell. We can only receive that in which we give our attention to. Just as the sunset is beautiful for those whom view, someone who stayed inside and missed the time wouldn't even be aware of the magnificence that the sky left to bliss our eyes and even insides. A beautiful reflection of that of power. The sun doesn't mind who or what is watching or paying attention. it still shines so bright and serves its purpose, leaving us some silent lessons to perceive through our own intentions. Giving our power away or utilizing it all for our ascension. Trusting in the knowing that even when our sun sets, our warmth still lies inside and could never have truly left. You hold the power in everything. Choose the words and match the feelings that don't describe anything less. Such as, I am extremely loved and blessed. Beautiful. And that poem ended at 12:12 a.m. when I finished writing it. 12:12. A lot of times we don't realize how much power words really hold. That's also why I am very mindful of what words I choose to say, what words I choose to use, and even when I'm writing, what words I choose to utilize as a tool. Because literally, even in the English language, we say when we are writing out a word, we call it spelling. We are literally creating and casting spells with our words. And that's also why words hold so much power, and why sometimes a lot of times words have been used against us by those who know how powerful words are, the power behind words and the energy that they hold. That's why I've looked into etymology and I've started to learn different things, different meanings, the root of where those words started, where did they first generate from. Just like if you notice, I say blissed instead of blessed. There's a lot of different words that I've noticed. One, too, that comes to my mind at this moment, that just comes to my mind because it's also the same friend who it's funny too, because I had literally had a conversation with her about the same thing, how powerful words are. And it's amazing how this poem came to be, because I had already been having a conversation with her about etymology and a word in specific. Like every single rising day, people say good morning. You won't hear me say good morning. Maybe in a different version of myself I did before I awakened myself to the power behind words and looked into etymology and started to ask questions and pay attention and not just follow along with things that were given to me. So I don't say good morning, because what is morning? Morning is something that you do when people have lost somebody, or not lost. We don't lose anybody. People just move on into a next chapter of their soul evolution. So there's no loss. People mourn when it's a form of grieving. They also call the mourn the casket. Mourn. It's literally a form of what people do when somebody has left this physical world. They mourn that person. They're in mourning. So why in the world are we saying good morning at the very start of our day, which is like the most important part of the day, because it sets the tone, it sets the intention for the rest of that present, which is a gift. It's a gift. It's not something for us to mourn. So why are we spreading that energy to others like, oh, good morn? I don't want to mourn. Especially mourn good. Like, make sure you have a good morn. No. There's so many things, there's so many words that are literally hidden in plain sight. Like, hidden in plain sight. There's so many more that's just like, what? It's literally what it's saying if I just paid attention. Like spelling. It's a spell. It's a spell. Which is another word that wants to come to my mind too, with there's something else that I don't say. Even when I answer the phone, I don't say it. And it took me a while to break that habit. Especially because every single person does it. Every single person does it, unless they speak Chinese or they speak Spanish or something. The hello. I don't resonate with it. I don't resonate with it. It's like, why do I want to be saying that? Why do I want to be saying hell? To everybody that you see, it's like, oh, blah. Oh, blah. Oh, blah. Oh, blah. Blah meaning hello, you know. I've programmed myself to, what is it that I want people to feel when I talk to them? When I say my first words to them, I say peace. Peace. And then I say what's good. Because I want them to think about what's good. It's the same thing I do when I make my videos. I might not say it 3 times. Maybe sometimes I do. Like when I'm answering or when I'm talking to somebody. But I always say peace. And I say what's good. And I don't know what else I say, but I say peace. Because that's what I want the energy to start off as when I'm speaking to somebody, when I pass through somebody on the street. I mean, I live in Mexico now, so now I say paz. Paz. When I'm saying bye, instead of bye, I don't say bye. Even when I hang up on the phone. When I'm saying see you later to somebody, I say peace. When I first see them, I say peace. When I first answer the phone, I say peace. When I'm hanging out, peace. That's how I start it. That's how I end it. Because that's the energy that I want that person to feel from me from the very beginning, and to end from speaking with me or having an interaction with me, and close it with that, with peace. I also like to say much love, like peace, much love. Because I know how powerful words are. Because I'm mindful of what I'm saying. Because I'm mindful of the energy behind it. Because I'm mindful of my intentions. I'm very mindful. Literally, being mindful switches up so much for us. When you just start to be mindful of your thoughts, when you start to be mindful of your feelings, when you start to be mindful of the energies in your environment and your friends and your family members, being mindful of how you feel, being mindful throughout your day. When you're doing something, being mindful of it. Are you in a joyful mood? Does it bring you joy? Does it bring you peace? Are you feeling peace? Is it taking away your peace? Do you feel irritated? Do you feel balanced? Do you feel imbalanced? Being mindful, being consciously aware of our own self and what's going on in here. But the power in everything comes from that of ourselves. We give power to that in which we choose to dwell. And the feeling attached to the words or phrases in that we spell. We are the ones that hold the key to everything. We are the ones that have the key for something to either begin or something to end. We're the ones that hold the key. Everything begins and ends with us. The power in everything comes from that of ourselves, because we are the power. We hold the power. It's up to us to choose to believe that we hold the power. It's up to us to choose to call back our power. Man, for such a 6x4. For such a long time, I don't feel like I have to do it as often because I don't do it very often anymore. But for a while, when I was first starting to reprogram and everything, I knew that I had given away so much of my power. I knew that I had been just constantly just giving away my power. And for a while, I just kept continuing to call back my power. But not only calling back my power, I didn't just want my power however it came back. I was calling back my power healed, whole, renewed, strong. I was going to say powerful. Call back my power, powerful. And peace. Not just however, not broken. Call back my power, broken and damaged and however it got left off with whoever I gave my power away to. Calling it back whole and healed and in peace and in love. It's incredible how much power we each hold and we just don't even realize it. We just don't even realize it. I've still very recently been acknowledging how much power I know I hold. Accepting and embracing how much power I know I hold. And not being afraid of it, not running away from it, or not hiding it away. I think that's been my thing along the way, is hiding it, feeling weird about embracing the fact that I know I hold power. And at the same time, it's the fact that we all hold power. I'm no different. I literally, I'm always wanting others to see their power within them too. Because I'm no different than anybody. The only difference between ourselves is our choices. how we choose to live our life, how we choose to spread love, how we choose to spread kindness, how kind we are with ourselves. How much self-love do we have within our own selves? No, how much self-love do we choose to embrace that's within us already? Do we acknowledge how much power we have, and do we utilize that power? Do we utilize the power that Source has sparked within us? Do we utilize the power that Source has to help us navigate with that power of Source in our lives? Those are the only differences. And I think sometimes it's a little bit difficult to kind of share into words how different I know that we all actually are, but at the same time we're not. It's very, what do you call it? It's very, like when you say something contradicting, it's very contradicting. I know it's very contradicting, but when you know, you know. When you understand, and you get exactly what I'm saying. We're all very different, but we're all very much the same. We were all created through the same strands. I always like to think of it as like a root, like a tree. A whole part of the tree is no different. Like the leaves, the branch, the trunk, the roots, they're all still the tree, but they're still different in their own ways. But they're all still part of the whole of the tree itself. And it's like the tree is Source. We're all making up Source. And Source made us uniquely different, but we're still made up of the same. We still make up the tree. And every part of the tree is needed and it's useful. There can't be no branches or no leaves or no fruit that grows or I think that's pretty much what makes up a tree. There can't be any of that without the trunk. You can't have the leaves or the branches or the fruits without the trunk. I mean, you can have branches without the leaves. You can have leaves without the branches. I'm sure there's trees out there with leaves without the branches. But you can't have any of that without the roots. And I feel like the roots are what Source is, the creation of us, or the seed. The seed. Whatever created the roots to grow. Even the soil plays its role. I mean, I'm thinking, is there any trees that don't need soil? Well, some trees can grow on water without any soil. I mean, there's just always so many possibilities, and that's what I love about this universe that we live in. If you can imagine it, for sure it exists. Like, that's the way I believe now. If you can imagine it, it exists somewhere, somehow, even if it's not in this dimension, or in this reality, it exists in another one. There's just infinite possibilities to what can be. And I think that's just so beautiful about about having and expanding and opening and tapping into your imagination. There's no limits to what we can imagine. There's no limits to what we can imagine. Which is awesome. It's just so cool. It's super cool. So yeah, we are all different and unique in our own ways. But we can't ever forget the fact that we are all still one and the same. Nobody is better than anyone else. Nobody is higher than anybody else. We're all just here playing our role. We're all here playing our purpose. We're all here serving a purpose. One's purpose isn't necessarily greater than another's. Maybe it holds more. I don't know. There's just really no comparing. There's just no comparing. Just because somebody has a purpose of like awakening the masses, or inventing, like Nikola Tesla inventing our electricity, that doesn't mean that that purpose was any greater or any better than somebody's purpose who was to plant a seed in somebody's heart, and that seed that they planted kept them from doing this one thing that would have harmed another person, or that seed that person planted in them helped them to get somebody else out of a situation that was harmful to them, or planted a seed in someone that kept them from pulling a trigger and taking somebody's life. Like, you can't compare. You can't ever compare. We can't compare because everything is serving a purpose in one way or another. That's very ego-based. That's very ego-based. So it's like when you call back your power, it's not about ego-based at all. It's not about ego-based at all. And if you think it is, then there's more work to be done there, which is okay. It's okay. Because a big part of this life is being able to overcome that ego. That's a big part of life, being able to overcome that ego. And I know that, for example, it's like coming to my mind right now. There's so many enlightened people who think that they're better than others because they're enlightened, or because they're whatever it is. Being praised and being like held on some kind of pedestal. And it's like, if you think that you being enlightened is what that means for you to be held up here below with others below you, then that's not being enlightened at all. Like, I would never want anybody to be praising me or holding me at some kind of higher pedestal than them, their own selves, or to like, it's like, no, I'm just like you. I want to show people that whatever they see in me is what you see in your own self. It's a matter of us all empowering each other. Whatever I learn, I want to share it with whoever's open and ready to learn, to embark on that journey also. Embark on it with me. Things that I've learned is because others have shared it with me. It's not about being better than anybody else. It's not about being praised or being glorified or being... It's kind of like taking me to a thought about like celebrities or artists or whatever. Why are you praising another human being? They're just a human being. Like, they're just a human being. Why are you praising them like if they're any better than you? They just happen to follow their dreams. But you can do that too. Maybe they have a better voice. We can probably acknowledge that some people have a better voice. Some people can play an instrument better. But I'm not talking about that stuff. I'm talking about what's in here. Nobody's any better than anybody else from what's in here. Which, yes, some people don't choose to act out of what's in here. I get that. I know. But at the same time, you don't know what somebody has experienced or what they've gone through and what they're struggling with. You know, when I have come across, I'm in it. Thankfully, it really doesn't happen often at all anymore, because we attract what we are. But when I see, for whatever reason, somebody who's unhappy or somebody who's being mean or somebody who's doing somebody wrong or whatever it is, 3223, I literally I feel for that person, because it's like, wow, they're lacking so much peace within themselves. They have so much within themselves that they haven't healed and they're struggling with emotionally. They're dealing with traumas within themselves that maybe they speak about. Most times they don't. I truly feel for them. And I know I've been in places in my life, situations in my life, where I haven't always been very nice. I haven't always been very kind to people. I haven't always been the greatest person to be around. I mean, definitely not the greatest person to be around. I've been in places in my life before where I've been down, I've had my lows. And what I know I needed at that time was just somebody to look into my eyes and tell me, I see you. I see you. It's okay to let go of that sadness. It's okay to let go of that hurt. It's okay to let go of that pain. Everything's going to be all right with whatever it is that you're going through. You're loved. You are loved. To give me a big hug and for me to feel it. And I mean, I know I received that like from my mom or whatever the case may be. I know I have. And maybe that's also what got me through different things too. For sure it is, actually, for sure. For sure. She's always been a really big piece to me overcoming so many things and not feeling as alone as I always did. But I say that to say that, like, we've all been there at some point in our lives, and remind yourself of what you needed when you were in those places in your life. we needed love. We needed somebody to remind us that we're not alone, that we are seen, that we aren't being overlooked, and that whatever it is that we're going through in here and what's going on in here, that everything's gonna be okay. To spark some reminder of love within us. Send those people love. You can't, the same energy that created the problem won't solve the problem. I think Albert Einstein said that, and that's always stuck in my head. If we are angry at people who are angry and doing things out of anger, and we give them more anger because we're angry at them for doing that, that just makes us the same. And I see that going on so much in this world, where people get upset at others or one person for doing something, and then retaliate and go and do the same exact thing that they're upset about. I don't even realize it. It's like, how hypocritical. How do you think that that's going to solve the problem? Giving the same energy back that you're upset about. The same energy that created the problem won't ever solve the problem. So what do we do? What will solve the problem? What if we heard is always the answer and we just ignore it? It's like, why do we ignore what we know is the answer? Love! Love! You want people to stop being angry? What's the solution? Love. What's the solution to everything? Love. What's the solution to you being able to heal and believe in yourself and live life the way that you know you're meant to be? Where does it start? Loving yourself. And when you love yourself and you're able to be compassionate with others because you know what it's like to be in that position, and because you're coming from a place of love, all you want to do is just share love to that person, to these individuals, to these whatever it is. Because you don't want to continue spreading more hate, more madness. So maybe that's something that we all should practice. If you see somebody having road rage, because I know that happens a lot out there in the US, wherever you are seeing this, road rage, or they're just upset, they're impatient, couples fighting, someone, I don't know, whatever situation you see where you can tell somebody is not at peace within themselves. Instead of getting upset and all hot and bothered, have emotional intelligence and just have love for that person, to send that person love. Actually, you don't even have to have love for that person. Just have enough love within yourself, for yourself. Because when you have love for yourself, you realize that everyone is yourself, that you are everyone and everything. And if you also embed that in your mind, that you are everything, then you're not going to want to treat anything bad, because it's like, I'm only treating myself bad by treating others bad. That's a big lesson that I learned. Anytime I was in those situations where I mistreated somebody, or I was unkind, or I was very impatient with them, or whatever it is that I did that I'm not happy about, I feel like I've made peace with it, but I'm still not proud of it. I knew what was I even trying to say? So anytime that I was in those experiences, in that situation, I knew that I was only harming myself. It all just came back to me. It all came back to me. I hurt my own self. When I snapped out of it, or even afterwards, instantly I felt bad. Like, man, why was I unkind to that person? Or why didn't I just pay more attention to what that person was telling me? Why was I so impatient with that person? I didn't have just a little bit more patience for that person. Why did I get so frustrated with that person? They have nothing to do with what's going on in my life. They have nothing to do with the problems and the issues that I'm dealing with in my life. Why am I taking it out on them? It only backfired and hurt me. That's all it did. It hurt me. It really hurt me in the end. So when we're being unkind and we're being anything that is not from the place of love with others, at the end of the day, you're only hurting yourself. And whenever you snap back into your own love, you're going to realize that. And it hurts to feel that. It hurts to feel that. You don't want to have to heal from that. To have to go through the healing of forgiving yourself for being unkind to others. Because that's some deep healing I had to do within my own self. And I mean, we're human. At one point or another, it may happen regardless. But it doesn't have to happen. It doesn't have to happen. We can learn from others, learn from me, learn from when you see somebody else being unkind and being impatient with somebody, or just not showing them love, not acting out of their own self-love. Learn from that. And plant some seeds in others to be kinder. I feel like that's a big reason why I'm also, as often as I feel intuitively guided to, like, planting seeds within others to be kind. Like, be kind. Nobody deserves unkindness. Even the person that's the most unkind in the world. Because remember, the same energy that created the problem won't solve the problem. It won't solve the problem. Being unkind to somebody who's unkind does not teach or remind them of themselves, of that love that lives within themselves by being unkind to them. But you know what will? Kindness. As much as they're unkind to you, be kind to them. And you'll plant a seed within them. And you'll even have them realize, like 3, 4, 5, wow, I was so mean to this person. I was so unkind to this person. And they were still so kind to me. They still told me to have a good day. They still looked at me and smiled. And fed me some energy where it's like, hey, I see you. It's okay. Whatever you're going through, I see you. I know that happened to me many times where I was in a bad mood. I was going through my own things inside. These times where I was not so kind. And I still came across people who were still kind. Who were trying to tell me to smile because I was just not even smiling. I was just so unhappy. And they left seeds within me where it's like, man, they taught me. They helped me remember who I was, to not be that way. That's not me. That's not me. That's not who I want to be. I want to be like that person who doesn't get affected or lets somebody else affect them and still chooses to be kind, still chooses to spread and be love and loving with someone else. That's freaking powerful. Oh my gosh, that's powerful. That is so powerful. Seriously. If we can all master that, to defeat the energy with the energy of love, that is freaking powerful. So may we all remember who we are. May we all remember that we are extremely loved and blessed. And may we continue to remind ourselves that the same energy that created the problem will solve the problem. And the love is truly the answer and will always be and will never not. And that's something that we all can tap into. And no matter what, nobody is better than anybody or anything else. Not even nature. We're not greater than nature. We're not greater than the animals. We're not greater than anything. We're all here serving a purpose in our own individual way. And nobody's purpose is greater or lesser than anybody else's. There's no comparing. There's no comparing. I'd seen something a friend posted the other day about comparison, how comparison really, I don't remember exactly what it said about comparison, but comparison really, it kills the soul in a way. It kills the spirit. Once you start comparing, you can compare yourself and compare yourself. It's an endless game that is just stealing from your peace. We're not here to compare ourselves with anything. No. Because we're all here serving our purpose. We're all a part of the puzzle. We're all a part of the painting. We're all a part of that canvas. Great message. I love this self-talk for my own self too. All right. Till next time. Much love. Much peace.